So the DCEU is dead.
What?
Damn! I wasn't really going to do a video on this because I'm sure everybody else and their mother was doing it. Thought I'd throw my 2 cents in. Recently it was announced that Wonder Woman 3 was scrapped and Henry Cavill is not returning as Superman. James Gunn, who's the new head of the DCEU, or the DCU as it's called, at Warner Brothers, is going to set a new continuity for Superman, Batman, and all the other characters involved in the Justice League. No more Henry Cavill, no more Gal Gadot, no more Jason Momoa as Aquaman, no more Batfleck, Zachary Levi Shazam, I don't know. No more Ezra Miller as Flash, which I'm not gonna be depressed. But I guess the long-awaited reboot that some people were hoping for with the DCEU is finally happening. What are my thoughts on this? Well, if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I'm not really a big fan of how the DCEU has turned out. Minus a couple of spots here and there that I liked. First Wonder Woman, I adore. Shazam I did a review of a few years ago. It's somewhere on my channel. As for the rest of the stuff, Suicide Squad, well, the first one at least. I haven't seen the second one. Didn't really care for it at all. Slightly better than the previous movies that came before it, but not by much. Man of Steel, I didn't like it. I know that's blasphemy on my part according to some people out there. Batman v Superman, I hated. I hate that movie. I've never hated a movie so much in my entire life, except for Fantastic Four 2015. Granted, I need to see more movies in order to say what qualifies as a bad movie. In my movie-going experience, it was among the worst that I've seen. Birds of Prey, didn't bother with it. Peacemaker, haven't seen that yet. Black Adam, waste of time. Wonder Woman 84, I was 50-50 on. It wasn't a bad movie, but not necessarily a great one either. I'll save that for a later video, but I don't think the hatred was really warranted, though. And as far as the Justice League, or the first edition, Justice League, Snyder Cut was better, but that's not saying much. Needless to say, the DCEU has been in a big disarray for nearly a decade. Nearly 10 years ago, we've got Man of Steel, our first look at the DCEU, and the hype for that movie for me was off the charts. I was hoping that it would be the Batman Begins for Superman, but one with the emotional weight to pull its audience in, and I didn't really get that. My own personal take, I know other people feel differently and say that it's underrated. You know the term Phantom Menacing by Chris Stuckman? That movie for me, after Spider-Man 3, was my Phantom Menace. I know plenty of people who do like the DCEU and were hoping that this franchise was going to continue after what we saw in Black Adam, and that maybe certain things were starting to look up for them, especially after the Snyder Cut release on HBO Max. I wasn't really holding out any hope, but I was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because you never know. I thought for a long time that the Snyder Cut was not going to happen, but then they announced it on HBO Max, and as I watched it, I thought, okay, maybe this is actually something to pay attention to. This is what should have been the first time around, but given the circumstances with Zack Snyder and his family, I totally understand why he left, but Joss Whedon had to come in and mess everything up, and Warner Brothers did nothing to stop that. And I thought Sony Pictures was messy with their handling of Spider-Man. Warner Brothers isn't that much better. They have a couple of good points here and there, but overall, they don't really seem that much different. Now James Gunn is in charge of the DCU. Apparently he's got a lot of stuff in mind for this new continuity he wants to set up. A brand new take on Superman in his formative years, according to some articles that I've read from Screen Rant and other media outlets that have come out with this stuff. And I did read some of his Twitter thread too, that some of the initial stuff that was coming out was somewhat true, but also not true. And even with that, I thought, yeah, they're rebooting DCEU. Gal Gadot's post on Instagram basically saying goodbye to Wonder Woman, it was pretty clear what was happening. And that seems to be a common thread with the DCEU. Just when things start to look up for the franchise, something inevitably happens that comes in with a wrecking ball and destroys everything. Wonder Woman comes out after all the previous ones were very lackluster for some audiences, and it actually gave me hope that maybe things were looking up for them. And then the Justice League came out, and yeah, my hopes were crushed, as well as a lot of other people. And then it led to the campaigning for the Snyder Cut, which we eventually got several years later. And Shazam comes out a couple years after that, which I really liked. And hopefully they don't cancel the sequel that's coming out this year. They should give us that at least. If you can't give us Wonder Woman 3 WB, give us Shazam. Give us something, okay? I'm not asking for much. And I just remembered, Aquaman, I didn't even bother with it. I had no interest. I thought from the trailers it looked terrible. Maybe I'm wrong, but I was not impressed from what I saw in those previews. As I said, I know people who are fans of the DCEU, and it's totally fine if you are. I'm not saying that you're an idiot for liking this series, because I feel somewhat of a similar way about the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I think they're a lot better than people give them credit for, but it's not exactly something I'm always willing to admit, because I know how much people loathe those movies, especially Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. My point is, everybody's different. Everybody's gonna have a different taste in a certain type of movie. Some prefer Marvel, some prefer DC, and some like both. I think Marvel has done a lot better with their quality. You could debate about whether or not Phase 4 is that good. I think it's better than a lot of the DCEU films personally, but that's just me. But even then, just another indication that Warner Brothers has no clue what they're doing. At least the previous management. With James Gunn, maybe that'll be different, because he knows what makes a good story. He's proven that with Guardians of the Galaxy and even its sequel. More than likely the same thing with Guardians 3. How could that be bad? It won't be. It won't be. But it was pretty obvious when they announced the Justice League back in the day that they were trying to ride the coattails of the Avengers. With the whole shared universe thing now being popular in film, naturally, Hollywood is going to try to recreate that success elsewhere. It's not the first time that it's happened. When The Matrix was released back in the day, so many movies came out trying to rip it off or parody it or reference it, to the point where everybody got sick and tired of all that stuff. With Harry Potter, the Twilight Saga was released, then Hunger Games, Divergent, and City of Bones or whatever that is. I don't even know. Whenever something like that is successful, Hollywood always tries to recreate it in some capacity. And the same thing happened with Batman Begins, which was a reboot. And all these reboots that came out afterwards, like Amazing Spider-Man, Man of Steel, Star Trek '09, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the latter two which I think were the best reboots post-Batman Begins, Hollywood is always trying to capitalize on its own successes. That's just something that's going to happen. And we all have to come to terms with that. That's a whole other topic entirely. It's not the first time that Hollywood has done this, and it certainly won't be the last time either. Whatever the next big trend that's coming in the future, Hollywood is inevitably going to repeat those cycles. The DCEU is no different. And when they announced they were doing their own shared universe, I thought, alright, Marvel's doing it, but let's see what they do. And as the franchise went on, it didn't get much better. Even the most diehard fans of this franchise can admit that these last 10 years haven't exactly been an easy ride. And I feel bad for not just those fans, but for everybody else involved. The actors in particular, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, they all deserve so much better than what they've gotten. I mean, Gal Gadot has one good Wonder Woman movie and one okay-ish Wonder Woman movie, so it's better than nothing. When it comes to Henry Cavill, he deserved way better than what they gave him to work with. We saw flashes of just how much potential he had as Superman, as Clark Kent. Even if I didn't really love the movie or like the movie that much, I saw a few scenes where I thought, this, with a better script, could show that he's the best Superman we've had in a long time. And that one mid-credit scene in Black Adam, I thought for sure, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe we can actually see Henry Cavill do a great Superman. And they announced he was coming back, which many fans were excited, and I thought, okay, great, awesome, let's go for it. And then the following news happened, which I guess it's not really surprising, but it's still a bummer to hear it. So I guess really what I'm trying to say is, hopefully this could be a learning lesson for James Gunn and his new crew that he's got with him. Maybe they can learn from the past mistakes. They could take what worked and what really didn't work in a lot of those movies, improve on them with the new continuity they set up. Whoever they choose as Superman, just please do him justice. We haven't really had a good Superman movie in 40-something years, since Superman 2, with Christopher Reeve, who I still think is the best Superman to this day. It's easy to say that, but it's true. He's who I think of when I think of Superman, just like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Christian Bale's Batman. If anything, James, please, don't screw this up. Just make a good movie. Make it a compelling movie. Make the best movie you can. That's all I'm asking for. Whatever else you have in mind, just make the best projects possible. That's all I care about. As far as Batman goes, from what I've read, he's not pulling the plug on Robert Pattinson. Whew. At least we have that. And he's not touching the Joker sequel.
You can sleep soundly tonight.
It's really sad that it had to turn out this way, because even with Man of Steel, it had its problems, but with the following sequels, you could have taken steps to improve on what didn't work. Same thing with Wonder Woman 84. Wonder Woman 84, it had its flaws, yeah, but you could have done a third movie and improved on it. It's a similar thing with Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire that's never been made. All the stuff that has come out about what could have happened, it makes me and many other fans who wanted to see it happen go, oh man, Sony, you had such a great opportunity to fix everything. And there are some people that I've seen on Facebook who are upset by this, and I can't really blame any of them. If I were in your guys' shoes, I'd probably be saying the same thing. It'd be really easy for me to just sit here in front of the camera and scream into the void how Warner Brothers studio execs don't know their you-know-whats from their elbows. I'm not really interested in any of that stuff, like screaming negativity into the void, unless I think it's really warranted with a certain movie. That's not really what I want to do. If it doesn't get me that much views, I could care less, as long as I get my voice out there. But it's also very cathartic, because I think there's a good opportunity for better movies to come out of the DC side of cinema. Marvel has proven themselves multiple times, and I still think that they've got a lot of great stuff to show. But DC definitely has potential too. Just from the little bits of it that I've seen in various shows and little bits of comics that I've read, I think they could show that they have just as much potential as Marvel does. It doesn't have to power one over the other. They just need to make the best movies they can. Can they do a shared universe? I think it's possible, as long as they play their cards right. Their own individual stuff like Joker and the Batman with Robert Pattinson, keep doing those. Clearly there's an audience for both of them, so there's no need to upset them. And thankfully it doesn't look like James Gunn's gonna touch either one. All I could say is, I really hope that something better can come out of this. It hasn't really been an easy ride for any one of us, for those who liked it and for those who didn't. But it gave us some good stuff to talk about, like Wonder Woman and Shazam. And some people who liked those movies, they had a good time talking about them, and they had a great time experiencing them. So, if anything, something good came out of it for both sides. The same thing's gonna happen with this new continuity. A new generation is gonna like this and say that their versions are the best. And Henry Cavill, if you're somehow watching this, dude, I'm really sorry that you had to go through all that. I really hope that you have a bright future in front of you in your acting career, and as far as I'm concerned, you should head over to Marvel. They might have something better for you. Captain Britain, or maybe you could be Mr. Fantastic. Hey, anything could happen. Now that I think about it, I wouldn't hate that. If John Krasinski's not gonna return as Reed Richards, I would not mind Henry Cavill. Any case, we'll see what they do. To Gal Gadot, thank you for all the great memories. I'll always cherish the memory of seeing that movie for the first time, and I hope to meet you one day at a Comic-Con. I would love it if that happened. I don't want to sound too creepy, but that's... Hey, I'm allowed to have my celebrity crushes. So are everybody else. Deal with it. Oh, and as far as Ben Affleck, I never really was a big fan of his portrayal, and from the sound of it, it looked like at one point in time he was trying to leave the DCEU, and then he was preparing to come back. Stay away, okay? Save yourself. You don't need to go back there. If you're willing to go back to Marvel and have a better outing there, then the door's always open. So, those are the things I have to say about this recent turn of events. I just hope that whatever happens, it's for the best. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and thank you for sticking around and watching my content. Also, I wanted to let you know that MoviePalette.com has reached out to me about this holiday sale that's going on. As far as buying their palettes online, I'm going to leave the discount code in the description box for you. And the video is officially sponsored by MoviePalette.com. I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate this, so just bear with me here. But if you are interested, here's the discount code, Joe15. I'll also put it in the description for you. And the movie of your choice will be available there, and they'll ship it to you through whatever delivery service you have available. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon, and I'll see you in the next one.